What's up, guys? Today we're taking a look at this knife. This is a Spyderco knife. I don't take a look at Spydercos all that often, but got this one. This is the Spyderco Shaman, or if you're metal complex, you'll call it the Shaman. Not sure why. Anyway, this is the Spyderco Shaman. This one particular one is in CTS XHP. I believe it was a sprint run that they had, because they have sprint runs of a bunch of their different models from different websites with different steels and different handle materials and stuff. So this was just one of them. I bought this on the secondary market, so I'm not sure exactly what exclusive this is, but it's got XHP steel, which I'm a huge fan of. I think we should see CTS XHP more often. It just seems like a really cool steel that we should have around. And this particular one has these nice RGT skinny scales on here, these toxic fat carbon skinny scales. So you can see it's a little bit slimmed down from what it usually is. Usually it like bulges out. The original scales have this swell in the handle right in the middle, but these are skinny. It's still contoured. Well, let's see, is it contoured? Yes, still, well, it's chamfered on the edges. I don't know if it's contoured, but it's chamfered on the edges, and then it's nicely rounded off. But I think these scales look really nice. I'm a big fan of fat carbon. I'm not a huge fan of the color yellow, but with the green, it actually looks pretty cool. I like fat carbon specifically because it's really flashy in the sunlight, or under certain light conditions. It can look really shiny and stuff, which I think just makes it look awesome. I think it brings really cool colors and stuff to your knife. So this one is it's pretty interesting to try this one out. It has a thick blade stock. The Spyderco has a thicker blade stock than I had realized. It's a nice jimping on the top. It's got the compression lock. This particular one is a little bit tight at the moment. It's got the compression lock here on the back. You can see there, and these scales make this really nice cutout for your finger to grab that tab, which is nice. And it's got a forward finger choil, really nice, roomy forward finger choil. So you can hold it like this, hold it back like this, but I think it's meant to be held more like this, with your thumb up here, with your index finger up here, and you put your thumb up closer to the blade. It feels like that's probably how you want to hold it. It does end up sticking out on the back, at least with my hands. You got tons of handle space. If you have big hands or huge hands or whatever, this is definitely a good knife. You can definitely fit as much hand as you want on this knife. So it's got the Spyderco Spidey hole. There you can see the Spyderco logo right there. It says Spyderco. On the side, it's got the Southglacier logo, and then Golden, Colorado, USA Earth. I always like that they put Earth on there. It's kind of cool. But it's got this jimping on the bottom as well as the top, so you can definitely lock your hand in. It's not going anywhere. Definitely locked in. They didn't give you a sharpening choil, and what a lot of people like to do is round this nub off, because when it's closed, that nub comes through and hits your finger right there when you're closing it, which I do find minorly annoying. It's not like the end of the world, and after you get used to this knife, you don't really notice it. But if you do handle this for the first time, you will notice that is a thing. It comes through and it hits your finger when you're trying to close it. I'm not sure why Spyderco did it that way. Maybe they just assumed people would take their finger off the lock bar before, or off the liner here before the blade was completely closed. I'm not sure, but you can definitely get used to it. You just flick it and then it'll come down, but you still end up feeling it sometimes, so it's a little weird. This particular one has a deep carry clip, aftermarket deep carry clip on this one, which looks really nice. It also carries really well in the pocket. Definitely better than the stock clips that they have on Spydercos. Definitely better than the stock clips, because the stock clips are like way down here, and it's not deep carry at all. And yeah, and they have like a lanyard hole or whatever in the way. This one like completely covers up the lanyard hole, which is kind of interesting. But these have gone up in price over the years. The base model of these are usually, I think, S30V and G10, like contoured black G10 usually. They've gone up in price over the years, but I managed to get this one on the secondary market for a good price. So overall, pretty interesting. A little bit ugly, I think. I mean, it's not as bad as PM2. I definitely, you know me and Spydercos, I'm not a huge fan of the look of them, but I do think this one does look a little bit better than the PM2. It still has the big Spidey hole. I don't know, they're not the greatest looking knives, in my opinion. I feel like we could do better. But, you know, Spyderco's, they're known for their hole, the Spidey hole. That's kind of their whole thing. So, their whole thing. Anyway, let's do some size comparisons here. Up against the Paramilitary 2. Let's see. We get focused. And then we'll compare it to the ZT-0308. You can see here these three look really nice because they're all in fat carbon. These fat carbon handles. This one's all green jungle fat carbon, and this one's got the red fat carbon, which looks awesome too. So you can see it's a full-size knife, big full-size knife, similar to the size of the PM2, very similar in size. You get essentially the same blade length as well. It just looks like it's a little bit thicker in blade stock. You can see there. I believe it might be around the same. It's very similar. It might be about the same blade stock, actually. But it does feel definitely a little bit beefy in the blade. Its lace is alright, good edge. Let's compare it to some smaller knives here. I have the QSP Penguin. Why am I doing it this way? I should be doing it. I guess I should do it here. You can basically see. I don't know why it keeps unfocusing, but there you go. And Benchmade Bug Out. So you see there, it's definitely longer than those smallish knives. Those are also kind of medium, smaller size. And then compare it to a couple others, to Benchmade Freak and Benchmade Full Size Adamas. You can see there, competitors' knives. You can see there, definitely around the size of the Freak. You get more blade length with the Freak, but and it is a little bit longer. That's one thing that always bugs me about Spyderco's is their blade to handle ratio is never very good. You always get a ton of handle with a shorter blade. I mean, you could tell this Benchmade Bug Out has almost the same blade length, just slightly under, but you can see how much shorter it is, you know. So your blade to handle ratio really isn't that great, in my opinion anyway. But some people don't mind that. Some people really like having a really good handle over a shorter blade, so you can control it really well. I'll also put in here the Microtech MSI, because I know a lot of people are getting their hands on these, so it might be a good one to compare to as well. So the MSI is definitely a little bit longer. Yeah, it's an interesting Spyderco. Not really my style. Definitely interesting to try out. A lot of people kind of rave about these and think they're the best and everything. And so I decided I'd want to check one out, see if they're actually any good. And they are. They're a pretty good knife. If you're into Spydercos, these are probably awesome. It is very comfy. I'll say that. It is very comfy in the hand. Choked back or choked up, it's comfy. It's nicely rounded. At least this one with these scales. It's going to be different for the stock one, but I've personally held the stock one of these before. I've tried them before. I've never owned one, but I've tried them, and they are very comfy. They're nicely contoured and everything, but they're not really my style of knife. That's all. A lot of people love these. It's kind of cool. This is probably the best version of the Shaman that I would take a look at, with this really nice steel and these cool handles. This is probably like my ideal version of this knife, but it's just not a model for me. You can, believe it or not, front flip it, which is something that some people don't know you can do with the Shaman. You can actually front flip it if you get the right leverage in the right spot. That jimping on the top, I can't do it right now because I'm behind the camera, but there you go. You can grab that jimping with your thumb and front flip it, which is a little bit fun. It's a little bit of a fun Easter egg there that you can do. Yeah, overall, pretty interesting design. I like the compression lock. I'm a big fan of the compression lock. I like how it's easy to actuate, open and close. This one's on washers, which is really good for hard use, but it's a little bit stiff. This action is not fall shut. You can see there's a lot of friction in here. It's definitely a stiffer action, but if you let go of the compression lock here, you can see it's a little bit more swing shut. So the pressure is being added by this liner here on the back where it locks up. Overall, good detent. Solid lockup. This one has a tiny touch side to side, but really that's kind of happens with a lot of Benchmade's and Spydercos from my experience. Nothing unusual there. Pretty good lockup. Centering is not perfect. I haven't tried messing with it a ton. It's pretty good, but it's a little bit off towards the show side scale. But that's not a huge deal. You can usually adjust that with the screws and stuff. Push it over, use the metal complexes trick or whatever that he shows in his videos. Yeah, it's a pretty cool knife. I wish they had made these liners black. It's just weird that everything else is black and then the liners are stainless steel shiny, you know, chrome or whatever. But that's not a big deal. This nub kind of bugs me a little bit. I wish the action was a little bit better, but overall, it's a pretty cool knife. This seems like more of a working knife that you use every day as a worker, hard use kind of EDC blade, but not as fidgeting, not as fidgety every day. Let's take the weight on this. This is going to be different for these fat carbon scales. It's 5.1 ounces, so it is definitely a heavier knife, full weight. Even with these fat carbon scales, it's still got the heft that you're going to want with a full size worker knife. Definitely nothing skinny, nothing thin. It's not going to act like, it's not going to be like a bug out in your pocket. You're going to feel it, but I think that's good on this style of knife. You definitely want to be able to have a good solid feel when you're working with this thing. So that's all. Let me know what you guys think about the Spyderco Shaman. For me, definitely not a knife that I would use all the time. It's not my style of blade. It's got the nice back bracer as well. I didn't mention that. But it's not really for me. I like the knife. I appreciate that it exists, but definitely gonna get rid of it and send it on its way. So I already sold it as well. So it's going to a new home. So that's the Spyderco Shaman. Let me know what you guys think of Spyderco. Let me know what you think of the Shaman. If you own one, let me know what version you own, because they make so many different types of this. Please like this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers. Please, guys, help me out. And have a great day.